Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. We got to talk about Big Brother 22 All-Stars. It's almost over.
I know! This is it!
Yeah.
Tonight, Wednesday night. Done.
That's it. Done.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Right?
Is there more to what we do? How do we do this?
Do we do it but first, Sarah?
But first, if you're new to this channel, click subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up.
And if you're new, we usually do the but first a bit more seamlessly, but it's okay. We're all on a different journey on a different day. If you want to support us on Patreon, there's a link in the description. Little as $1 a month. Join us.
A long Big Brother season. I don't know how we do these videos.
Sarah, that was so good. Silence, and then you go, hey, guys. Like, when have we ever started a video? Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. I was like, something feels different, Sarah.
Yeah.
What?
Ooh,
What is it that
something
we do?
is missing.
What is it that? Right, but
there.
first, that's on me. Okay.
Yeah, we got there. We got
there. Hey.
So we have 2 episodes to recap here. We're going to do a little bit of the Friday episode. I'm sure you all tuned in because it was, a thrill-a-minute episode of mostly segments that we've seen before, but a little bit of new footage.
There was new stuff.
Then we've got tonight's episode, which also had limited new stuff, but we're going to enjoy ourselves anyway.
Close to what? What's in this episode? I was like pumped for a bunch of this comp, but we got 15 minutes of this comp. So, okay, let's do just highlights, David. Was there anything in the bonus clip show that you enjoyed?
First of all, I just was so happy to see the pre-jury again in the clips from seeing Janelle and the whole the have-not segment. We saw the whole have-not segment, right? Like, this is not previously unaired footage, but it was just a treat to see it again because Janelle is Janelle. And it was a reminder of the potential that this season had. I want to remember how excited we were to have Janelle and other old schoolers, Kaser, in the house early on. And it was just such a pleasure to see them again.
It was a bit of a reminder of what could have been.
Yeah.
And there were moments in the season when you're like, oh, these people could work together. Oh, we could keep these people in the house. And it just never came together for us. So, yeah, it was a lovely reminder to see. I mean, especially Janelle and Kaser are back together. They gave us a Jacer segment, and I appreciated it. I loved it. What was so interesting is I was like, I remember every scene, like every footage they showed us of Janelle and Kaser. I was like, this is when I did not miss a scene between the two of them on the feeds. If they were on the feeds together, I was clicking that cam. Like, that was it for me.
Yes, absolutely true. Like, I used to I had the feeds on all the time because I was just like following them around and also just, the excitement of early on in the season, not just them, when there were so many players that we loved still in the house, and then one by one they got knocked off. But specifically Janelle and Kaser, it just was so fun to remember, oh yeah, that happened this season. That was just back in August.
And it really was touching because they were like, it's hard to sum up our friendship and our and it really is, but it is beautiful and it's just so lovely. It's hard to put into words or a little bubble, but they're great. So thank you for that segment, CBS.
Yes. There was also the Bayley Triathlete punishment segment. That was one that kind of got pushed out of the episode for, I forget what reason. Was that when she had her fight with Christmas? I don't recall. But
I mean, it was around that time, but I remember being like, oh crap, they never showed this. I don't remember why exactly.
And it was actually, I think, one of the more interesting punishments of the season. And the segment was super fun, seeing her just pedaling along. She's got the tiniest little pedals to go on, 500 laps. It's fun to see like everyone out in the backyard. She loses a pedal and then everyone's lined up cheering her on and she's going with one leg. I thought it was a super fun punishment segment.
It was, and I'm so glad they put it together that way because in reality, Davon was the only one out there cheering her on. And that was back when we had a large clique of mean girl boys. And they were like, whatever, this punishment's not that hard. Look at it. Because she finished it so quickly. Like she didn't stop. She just went. Yeah, so you could be like, oh, that's not that hard. But it's because she worked so hard. So thank goodness they finally came out at the very, very end and we could edit together like we were cheering because that was exciting.
Yeah.
Cheer her on.
And I also love just seeing like they don't have anything to do with game. Like this is the perfect episode for segments like this. But I like seeing the like BTS diary room stuff. Like when they're putting in their requests and stuff, like it gives you more of a glimpse into what it's actually like to live in the Big Brother house. And you are totally dependent on production for everything that you might need.
Turning on that hot tub.
Yeah, I know. Memphis was obsessed with the hot tub.
Give him the hot tub. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What was that about?
And give Enzo a 12-pack.
Is that too much? Can I get a 12-pack? Is that too much?
I won't drink it all. I'll share it.
Like half of the stuff they requested, though, is not even stuff I own. Like, I don't have that. Like, why are we requesting all of this? Like, what?
Right. I need hair clippers, not like what? I'm not a beard trimmer, a hair clipper.
I need the heat up wax strips. It's like, oh my God.
Right.
Calm down, people. Like they needed everything. Everybody needs one thing. I can only imagine how annoying that is as production.
Yeah.
But I'll have to say, like every year, I love the crying in the diary room.
Yes.
That is one of my favorite segments. Usually I'm laughing though. It's hilarious. But they changed the music this year. It was like sweeping music this year. And it tried to make me choked up.
Oh, I was gonna say, did it get you, Sarah?
It got me a little. It got me in the feels just like a little. But I was like, why is this? You're trying to make me sad, and I refuse to be sad because it's supposed to be hilarious.
Right.
But did you notice they bookended it with Janelle?
Yeah, I was gonna say the one person it didn't get was Janelle. Not one tear from her.
It starts with "I will not cry," and then it ends with "And never will you see me cry."
Yeah, it's like,
our ice queen. Hello.
No. She's Janelle has the perfect Big Brother outlook. She's like, this is a game. It is not worth crying over.
But you know what? She did cry once this season. Do you remember when that was, David?
She cried when Nicole Anthony thought that Janelle was betraying her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that mom energy, you know, I think.
Yeah. She was so devastated at the thought that Nicole thought that they weren't friends, that this wasn't real. And she got teary. Let us not forget the ice cream.
They got her the ice cream.
The ice queen.
Sarah, what did you have to drink before this stream?
I actually had a Coca-Cola and now I'm on water. Like it should not. But I streamed for 2 hours before this. So maybe that's it. Maybe I'm just like stream happy. I'm like so much talking to camera.
I don't want to derail us here, but one of my favorite things about you, Sarah, is that you drink full sugar Coca-Cola. And I'm curious in the chat, like, who else drinks full sugar soda? Because to me, that's like, kind of like
David is a Diet Coke man.
I'm just kind of diet all sodas because like I drank Pepsi when I was a kid. Like I didn't even drink water. I just drank Pepsi, right? Full sugar Pepsi.
Let's talk Coke or Pepsi right now. I am the person in a restaurant. If I say I like a Coke and they say, is Pepsi okay? I say no.
Oh, that is me. Friend like that. Yeah, they decline it if it's Pepsi. I'm like, it doesn't taste that different.
It does. It does. 100% it does. I'll put you up on a tightrope if you don't think so.
I have never done the Coke Pepsi challenge where you like try to tell the difference or pick which one you prefer.
It's really gross. I'm from Florida, and in Florida, it's a big Pepsi state.
Oh.
And I was very aware of what it tasted like as a kid. And my mom still drinks Pepsi. Like, it's just Floridians like Pepsi.
Yeah.
But I can't stand it. I like Coke. Now, I don't drink a lot of soda. It is not a typical thing for me. I usually only drink it when it has whiskey in it. But occasionally, if I need just like a little boost in the afternoon, I might have like a tiny Coke or like half a Coke.
Sure.
So that's why I'm okay with it being full sugar. But let me tell you, since we're talking about it, the reason, because I drank Diet Coke for many, many years, and actually Coke Zero was my favorite. Do you like Coke Zero?
I love Coke Zero.
Okay, how do I phrase this? I had intestinal issues.
Intestinal distress.
I had some intestinal distress, and I went to my doctor, and we were trying to figure out what was going on. And he mentioned, well, first off, he was not helpful. He was like, it could be a number of things, but he said you got to eat slow, and I was like, oh shoot, I eat really, really fast.
Me too.
And he said artificial sugars clog your intestines. And so at that moment, I cut out artificial sugars just in case that was it. 'Cause we didn't know for sure. So I started slowing down my eating, and I went to regular Coke.
I just love that you have that indulgence, because like, I think you're I was about to say you're a very healthy person generally, but I've seen you eat some chips and fries like nobody else. So we share similar tastes for sure in our junk food preferences, but like the full sugar soda is just like so indulgent to me. And I just love that for you, Sarah. Congratulations.
Oh my God. Thank you, David. If you limit your, Cokes or Pops or whatever, if you limit your, the things that you cheat with or the bad stuff, I hate to say bad, but if you just have it a little bit, you can have the full fat, full sugar.
That's right. And just an announcement, we are piloting a nutrition channel. So tune into our next video where we discuss.
My sister would be very happy. My sister's a dietitian. She'll be like, you guys, I'll finally watch a video now.
Oh, well, I think the only other thing from this Friday episode that I wanted to point out was, in case you didn't watch through to the very end of this episode, you missed Dr. Will in his skivvies doing a slow-mo stretch on the neighbor's balcony. And I was like, what is this?
What is this is a very good question. Why was this ever shot?
Right. Why did Dr. Will agree to this?
Happened. No, I don't even think he agreed to it. I think he probably just disrobed, and camera was like, all right, let's do this.
That's a very intentional stretch for it to be.
It was all very intentional because it was a pan down up. Everyone was on board, but I feel like it was Dr. Will's idea.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Over him being convinced. I don't know. But we got it. We got him at bottom to top.
We did. We got one more segment with that neighbor. For anybody who said the neighbor twist wasn't worth it, we got one more little piece of content out of it.
This was what it was all about. This moment right here. Basically that's all I took from the Friday bonus episode.
Yeah. Fun, but mostly we've seen it all before because, we watch everything. So.
Oh my gosh, don't we? We watched it all.
We
did. Tonight's episode.
It's more recap.
Lots of recap. Okay, but we're building the final threes game. Okay, we're finally here. We've got a final three: Enzo, Cody, Nicole. So let's talk about each of their game a little bit. And honestly, even though it feels like, oh my God, how many recaps can we do here?
Yeah.
These three all have decent things to talk about.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's interesting hearing it from their mouths because this does feel like a preview into their final speeches, right? And the case that they're going to make to the jury. So it is, I don't know that how much of this we've seen before. Like this does kind of feel like a new format to me. And I like hearing them explain how they see their game over the course of the season. I did find value in that for sure.
Yeah, and we've definitely had times where we had final threes and like one person does not have anything to tout, and it's all manufactured in this little segment that they do, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
Hi, Tom.
right.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, Tom.
We're almost done.
So close.
Oh, so close. Oh, we got Diana popping in too. Hey, hey, hey.
Get out of here. Hey, Diana. Good to see you.
Yeah, so I at least appreciated that. Enzo had a stellar social game.
He did.
And that's mostly what we're talking about here. He did win a couple comps. Great. Cody's game is so good. Plenty to talk about.
And he's got the case of like, I did this day one, like he really he's that player this season. He was like Tyler from BB20, just playing hard from day one the whole time, never let up, and still was never on the block. Like it's like an unimpeachable game. He did such a good job this season.
Yeah. And he kept saying like, every day I worked at this game. Like I did take a day off, and I feel like that's accurate. I feel like he was really on top of it every week, whether he was in control or not. And then Nicole's game, she has plenty to talk about too. And I kind of like the way she phrased, like, that's on me that I made myself not seem like a threat as a winner in this house.
Yes. And like the way she talked it up, I was like, okay, I don't know that it beats Cody. We've talked about this a lot. Like, we feel like Cody's going to beat anybody. I still feel that way, but I am feeling just better about like a potential Nicole showing in the final two, and the way that she's good. Because the truth is, as a former winner, she has to play a totally different game from Cody. She can't come in day one, guns a-blazing. She's got to lay low, make herself seem not a target, because she is inherently one of the biggest targets in the house. They don't want to lose to someone who's already won. So just the way she kind of talked about, I survived against David as a winner because of the relationships that I had built. And then, I had made myself a smaller target than Danny, when really they probably should have gotten me out over Danny, like that they had their chances.
Such a good example, because she was sitting there next to Danny, and they were so scared of Danny and worried about Danny that she was fine. And she listed the people, and these are all her shields. She's like, I aligned with Danny, a shield. I aligned with Cody, a shield. I aligned with Ian as the other winner shield. Like those are her three shields she set herself up with. And I know a lot of people want to hate on her game, but like that's to her credit. So.
And then also to hear her talk about like, I joined the committee and then I got the man who created the committee out on my HOH, like that's.
I was like, girl, if you phrase it like that, hello. That's a good way to phrase it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So she did. She's ready, to make her case in the final two.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 3 people with solid games. Great. Now we get pre-jurors.
Oh, it was so fun. Yeah, it was cute. Like no Julie, just the 5 of them in their little Zoom session, kind of hosting it themselves. And Janelle had some words for Nicole. Nobody wanted to waste an HOH on getting Nicole out of the house because she was a non-threat. I was like, yeah, Janelle's back.
Oh boy. Janelle made it very clear she has not changed her mind. She will not be a fan of Nicole's.
No.
And even when people like Nicole Anthony are like, wow, but let's give her some credit, Janelle's face is just like, No.
We're going to try to give her credit.
Not going to give her credit at all. Yeah. But yeah, it was very cute that they got to just chat amongst themselves without Julie. I really did appreciate that. They all looked beautiful. They all had really good set deck behind them, and the lighting, stellar, very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah. And they were all kind of saying the things that we've been saying, the things that the actual jury has been saying in terms of cutting Cody as a potential game-winning move for both Nicole and Enzo. If they can pull that off, that's going to be huge. I was surprised at how much respect they had for Enzo's game. They 100%. Were saying he is the most likable person, not just left in the house like this entire season. We all love him. He has so many friends on the jury, and that could work to his advantage. So I was surprised to see how much love they had for him.
Me too. Like, I know his social game has been great. Everyone thought they were friends with him. Everyone thought he was working with them. I do get that, but because he never made a move, he never manipulated or drove the decision to get someone out.
Yeah.
I feel like that takes away votes for him. But if the pre-jury thinks it, then the jury probably thinks it as well, because they see things differently than those of us who have never played the game. So
Yeah.
I have to imagine, and we have heard Davon be like, I'm rooting for Enzo. So I don't know. I'm interested now if Enzo does get votes and if he does possibly win.
I know. I mean, I think it's a scenario we don't really need to put too much too much importance into, because I don't think it's going to happen. We'll get to that. No? But I do think that if Enzo were to make it to a final two, his best chances at winning are a bitter jury. And that plays into what the pre-jury is talking about in terms of being likable, in terms of having friends on the jury. If people are mad at you for, getting them out, it's not going to be Enzo that they're mad at, Yeah,
absolutely. HOH. Is this when we finally get to the HOH?
It is, yes, part 1, and we see the whole thing. Now, I thought maybe it's me. Maybe we're in our LA bubble, Sarah, and I'm like being too oversensitive and whatever. But I was like, we're doing a death theme right now. Okay, we're gonna have graves.
Halloween, David.
Literally, like, here lies Enzo, and then they come out with their like zombie walks, like they're dead. I'm like, that's what we're doing for the creative here. Like, I don't know, maybe just like someone needed to just ask the question.
Stuck at home. People are dying. I can't.
I need to know that there was one person on the production team who was like, I'm just asking the question. Are we sure we want to do this? And they were all like, yes, you're overreacting. Like, I just hope that happened.
Oh, that's so funny. It is literally the week of Halloween. So I think that it's okay. And
we're
honestly,
also hitting a third wave of COVID.
Oh my God. I never got to leave my home. Like, everyone else is like, we're hitting a third wave. I guess I stopped going out again. And I'm like, wait,
I'm still in the first one.
I never got. It's exhausting. Okay, but that's a side note. Okay, that bit though, David, they literally came out of a grave and walked like zombies, and I was like, look at the acting on these three.
Well, Cody's an actor. We know that.
Cody took it seriously. He was like, here we go. And director says, action, here we are. I'm a zombie.
Be the zombie. Be the zombie.
They were like, oh, I was actually impressed that all three of them like kept it. I mean, it wasn't a super close up, so maybe they're breaking and I couldn't tell, but it seemed like they were zombies. And I was like, wow,
it did.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. So it's this classic endurance comp that I think I expected it a little bit earlier in the season, because I don't think it's the most compelling thing when there's only 3 people playing, which I think we saw play out in this episode. Like, it wasn't super exciting to watch when there's not a lot of people dropping, but we do finally get this, like, this is one we've seen a ton before, where they bump into things and they've got to just balance on that little disc.
Yeah, I don't mind this for a final 3, especially because it isn't like when you're listing endurance comps, like the wall is very, very much for like a specific body type. Like they all sort of like lean itself. And this one doesn't lend itself to, it's definitely going to be Cody, because like on paper, we're like, endurance is part 1, probably be Cody, But once I saw that they're like spinning and flying around, which, like you said, we've seen before, I'm like, that's not necessarily Cody. Like, that actually could be a smaller person or
I don't think it has a whole lot to do with any kind of physical strength,
right? So and I love it when they get sprayed with goo, and they, in real time, David, they had just eaten that dinner that we saw on the Friday night show with the champagne and the steak and lobster. And I don't know, an hour or so later, they're spinning, and Enzo was so sick. He could not hang.
Oh my God. Well, he literally couldn't hang because he was out first. But I mean, Cody was like losing his footing. several times. That's, I think, where the strength helps, right? Like
Yes.
his feet fall off and he's able to hold himself up with his upper body strength and like get his feet back on the disc and stay in the competition. That was like impressive.
It was. He did it multiple times. I was very impressed.
Yeah. Yeah. But Enzo is the first person to drop. And this is kind of what I mean in terms of like, I don't know, I kind of prefer with more people just because if there's like 8 people playing, I'm just remembering certain versions where it's like, oh, you know, Devon dropped, but Bayley's still in it. You know, it's like there's still other people to root for. And this one, it's like, okay, Enzo's out, and now it's just one or the other. You know, it's just over. I think
that's
quickly.
Just Final 3 in general. We used to root for other people, David, and you're right. Like, oh, wait a minute, I have to root for either Nicole or Cody now.
Like to root for people, yeah.
You're like, I need more options in here. Can we get some other house guests, please?
Right.
That's what you were feeling in that moment.
I think you're right.
But now Cody keeps saving himself, but Nicole has like figured out a bit of a technique where she can kind of lean back and get herself over the moon a bit more, whereas Cody is just like smacking into it.
Oh, he's slamming into the moon. He's slamming into the house. Like he's really taken a lot of hits. And Nicole, it seems like she's almost entirely avoiding the moon. Basically, and sometimes she's not even hitting the house. Like she has figured something out there. I don't know what that is, but she, you know, in the diary room, she's like, I kind of found this hack, but like, I'm not going to tell Cody, like he can figure it out for himself. And then it seemed like they lowered the ropes and that hurt Cody more than it hurt Nicole, because I guess he just was hitting the moon even harder when the ropes were dropped. And it felt like pretty soon after that, he finally did lose his grip, and he just kind of sat on the disc, right? He didn't even fall off. Yeah.
Well, yeah, your feet have to be on the disc. So before he was able to hold on and like eventually get his feet, but this time he slipped so much that his butt hit the thing. And once your butt hits it, you're out. Yeah. So yeah, Cody's out. He doesn't get to save himself. And supposedly, now they don't have watches, but supposedly this was only like 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
That's what they thought when they were like, I think that was about 30 minutes. So who knows exactly, because BB wasn't telling us, which makes me think it wasn't very long.
Yeah, right. If it were like 2.5 hours, we would have seen like
an hour later.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Nicole wins part 1. Surprising a few people here.
I know. I was just thinking, like, did we already talk about that? But no, like we didn't have the spoiler video last week. So yes, Nicole does win this part, and we are looking ahead now to part 2 in Wednesday's episode, and we know who won that. So do we move into our spoilers?
Spoilers.
All right, let me crack my neck, get stretched out here. I'm ready.
Ready and
spoilers. Wow, that might have been an 11 out of 10.
I feel like it is. And then they tell us it's not.
They tell us it's a 3. And I just feel like I'm feeling gaslit by the chat a little bit, because I know that was excellent. You know?
Right. We feel it's excellent. So that's all that matters. You guys, shocker on part 2.
Oh, yeah. Shocker. Cody won.
Cody won. This one, Cody won.
Yeah.
I mean, it was surprising that Nicole won part 1-ish, but we knew she was good at comps. But then you're like, oh, Enzo versus Cody? Cody.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Now, it's a timed comp from what I saw. And Cody did have a comment at the end of this episode that he was planning on smoking Enzo in part 2 of the HOH comp. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think from what I saw, it was like Cody did it in 4 minutes and Enzo did it in 37 or something like that. Yeah. Like he really does smoke him in part 2.
It's a literal smoking. When Enzo was complaining, like obviously he was very upset. This is it. He lost his opportunity to have any say in final 2. So he was very upset, and he was recounting to Cody and Nicole that the producers were like, hey, play it cool while we get you and Cody out here to see who won, you know, how they bring them back out. And they're like, reveal Cody's time. And Enzo couldn't contain himself. He was just like, Cody, you got it. You know, like being all.
Yes, he apparently threw a little bit of a fit and eventually I think was a bit like sheepish about that. Like, oh, I wish I hadn't like, you know, thrown a tantrum. Like, who am I, Christmas? You know, but he eventually does, you know, cool off a little bit, but there's like a significant amount of cam talking from Enzo later on where he's just like, I blew it. Like, I got third place again. This is not good for me. I don't think they're going to take me. You know, he's feeling like his game is over now, which I agree. I think it is.
Yeah, I think Christmas predicted that you're going to take third. Enzo, that is super likely, and only because the BB22 has always gone predictably. Like, we have to assume that that's what's going to happen. Literally nothing happened out of the ordinary this season. So
no.
That's it.
I think they were talking about, I think it was this week, that Enzo and Cody and Nicole were kind of recounting the season. They've been doing a lot of like rehashing and remembering and reminiscing. But they were talking about how the target every week never won the veto, not once. Kevin won the veto one time and used it on himself, but he wasn't the target that week. And then Davon, you know, we've talked about this. Davon used it on Kevin, but again, he was not the target. Like, it, you know, it's just been a very
Kevin
not dramatic. That's true, but he didn't use it on himself. So the fact that like
that is
under pressure, no one was able to save themselves is boring.
Because I forget the exact number, but it was something like 8 weeks or something crazy like that. The HOH won veto. Yeah. So you had no even conversations of like, what else could we do? Like, that's so boring. And not that that's Big Brother's fault. Like, we just 2020 is cursed. We got so unlucky this season. It just went so predictably. So yes, odds are Enzo's coming in third, but let's talk about this because Enzo is under the impression that Cody was going to take him, even though he kind of sulks around like he's not, but he has thought that Cody was going to take him this entire time. But Nicole thinks Cody's going to take her. Yeah. Cody thinks Nicole's going to take him. Enzo's pretty sure Nicole wouldn't take him. But what's real?
It is hard to know what's real, but I think I thought like there's a chance. Nicole's smart. She's won this game. There's a chance that she would pull the Steve Moses and cut Cody at final 3 and bring Enzo. And really, I think like secure a second win for herself, especially if she's, you know, if she wins this final HOH and decides, like, that's huge. And if she can cut Cody, like that's a lot of Big Brother gameplay right there in one, right? But she's been cam talking that she's going to take Cody. And you got to believe the cam talking. There's no reason for her to lie to the audience on the feeds. Like in the DR, that's one thing. You know, those tend to be very produced nowadays, especially compared to what they were early days of Big Brother. But cam talking, she's taking Cody. And with Cody, I think Enzo has just noticed an energy shift. Cody's different around Enzo now. And Cody and Nicole are spending a lot of time together.
The way that Cody and Nicole talk, they both say, I'm taking you. I'm not cutting you. Like Nicole says that to Cody. Cody says that back to her. I am not cutting you. I am taking you. When Cody and Enzo are talking, Enzo's doing a decent job of like playing the emotional game, pulling at Cody's heart. Like, man, you've been my man since day one. I told you I was taking you day one. I still am, or I still would. My family needs second place. Like third place, you get nothing. Third place stinks. I've already done third place, but my, you know, that 50K of second, like my family needs it. And Cody goes, yeah, man. Yeah. Third place sucks. Yeah. God. Final 2. That's where it's at. Like he just is like, yeah, you know, like has conversations with Enzo, but he's never like, you're my boy. I got you. He never says those words. And so, hello, that has got to be telling that he's taking Nicole. Stop fighting me on Twitter about this, guys.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Before we started, you guys, Sarah had mentioned she's got the list of usernames So if you thought she was kidding the last time, she's not. She's coming for you when she's right, just so you know.
Drop it. I can't. Look, we don't know who's taking who. Anything can happen. Maybe Nicole realizes she can't win next to Cody. She cuts him, takes him. So, like, who knows what's going to happen? But we can only speculate. But if you come at me, then you know for sure. I can't forget it. I can't forget it.
Right. And you're going to remind them.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think Enzo he also, I believe, has been selling the kids angle to Nicole a little bit, because I think she's kind of gone back to Cody with that. Like, yeah, Enzo's, selling the family angle to me too, and he needs the money. But again, they're just like reassuring each other. Yeah, I'm going to take you. Yeah, I'm going to take you. And this is just part of why it's so important to win one of the first two parts of the HOH competition, because then those two people are making deals together, because they're, it's essentially like, well, it's just us two left. Like, we're going to be up against each other, but let's just take each other. Let's just promise. So then for however many days, they're promising back and forth, I'll take you. And then that just like burrows into your head and it stays there for good,
Yeah. Nicole did mention to Cody, she was like, you guys must have a pact, because Enzo's not asking me or trying to make a deal with me or anything like that. So you must have a pact. And Cody's like, we don't. And he's
they did. They did have a final two. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Which he lied to her about when she asked him point blank, like a couple weeks ago. But he's only giving her like half the truth. He's being like, nah, like, he kind of just talks about this or that, and I go along with it, which is kind of true. He's not giving her all the details of like, yeah, he thinks I'm taking him. Like, he's not saying it like that. But he is much more clear with Nicole. So if I were a betting lady, which I'm not, then I would say that they're taking each other, and it doesn't really matter who wins final three HOH.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree with you. But
I mean, I guess it helps Nicole a little bit if she wins final three HOH.
I think it would
tout that as a win, and she can explain why she took Cody.
Yeah.
Maybe that helps.
And I don't know. Like, it could go either way. The jury could look at that and say, like, why would you bring Cody? That's equivalent to Cody bringing Derek.
Yeah.
Or they could say, like, okay, you had the balls to like stand next to the best and still plead your case. Who knows how the jurors are going to take a move like that. But yeah, I think that if Nicole can manage to win part three, that definitely helps her chances.
Right. If Cody wins part three, you're just like, add another win on his list.
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Well, this is it, you guys. Wednesday is the finale.
Episode. Yes.
This is it. So on Wednesday night, CBS's schedule is 8 p.m. Amazing Race, because they flipped. 9 p.m. is a 2-hour finale of Big Brother. We will watch part 2 play out, even though we already know Cody wins. Then we will watch part 3 play out live.
Yes.
Julie did say we were getting all 16 house guests back. So even though I think some are going to be telecommuting.
Yes, right. Yeah, it seems like we'll have everybody together.
But at least they'll all be there. I hope that doesn't like make the time too short. Like sometimes it's so rushed to get everything that everybody's saying.
And I mean, like, of course, I'm worried about like internet speeds, because it's a live finale, and then you have people joining via Zoom, like, sometimes even our live stream, Sarah, we have like the peak of technology and obviously the highest internet speeds available. And sometimes, even our streams are a little glitchy and laggy. So I'm just worried about that for,
what are you talking about?
I might be hinting at the fact that you're glitching a little bit right now on my end, Sarah. So I'm just trying to maybe acknowledge to the chat that sometimes these things happen and it's okay.
They happened and it is okay. But we'll have the jury, at least. I don't know if they'll be on stage, but they can be all together. So that's a thing. super exciting that the season happened. Okay. And that, and that we can wrap it up.
Yes.
Somebody deserves to win. It's going to happen.
So
Someone
I want you all to, drink your full sugar Coca-Cola at about 7 p.m. tomorrow, because for those of you on the East Coast, you're going to need to join us at 11:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Well, Wednesday, but yes.
Wednesday,
excuse
me. Yes, Wednesday. Well, you can have a Coca-Cola tomorrow if you want to. I'm not here to, dictate what you are and are not drinking on a day-to-day basis. But Wednesday for sure. Have a pick-me-up. Cold brew, Red Bull, whatever you need to do to get through the night.
I certainly will be. And we're West Coast.
Same,
yes. If you're East Coast, bless you. Woo. All righty, you guys, thank you so much for joining us live, hanging out with us in the chat. We appreciate it.
Yes, and if you're joining us later, we want to know what was your favorite segment from the Friday episode? Because remember, that still happened.
All of this happened.
Yes. What do you think is going to happen in part 3? And who are you rooting for to win at this point?
Yes, we want to know. And we will see you on Wednesday.
All right. See you then. Bye.
Bye.